Let's face it, social media is tricky, and I do not have this aced. In fact, I probably, if I were graded, probably would get an F. Not for lack of sharing my life with others, not for lack of being transparent, but I think my struggle is that I let the likes get to me. I let the pursuit of approval and that type of rat race be a struggle. And your imagination, reading into things, overthinking, which as a performer, that goes with the territory too. But I think just being human. Here's some of the rubs. You know, One thing I have found in, golly, possibly close to 2 decades of social media now, is I I usually don't get a lot of response from friends and family unless I post about my wife, my kids, or say something super spiritual. And what stings a little bit is if it's just about me, whether it's something simple, or I'm hurting, or I'm celebrating something. I've got a simple joy, very little responses. But if I share about my wife, or if I share about one of my kids, or if I put a superhero S on my chest and say something super spiritual, that's when I get the responses. And then if I don't, it's silent. And that stings a bit. I know I'm loved. I know I have resources. I know I got go-to people, and I do cling to those. And I guess if you're feeling any bit like I am, then my encouragement is that, I think we have to step back, which I'm doing right now, and say my identity, my worth isn't in likes and loves and clicking buttons. In an emergency, I have people to turn to, and I'm grateful for that. And I've got the good Lord to go to, and I'm grateful for that. The other part of social media that is tricky is the saturation and the you get in this algorithm for politics potentially, and every day in the news cycle, I get a saturated fire hose of the horrors of Donald Trump and his followers and his minions. And I'm trying now. At first, I realized that being a Christian but being silent was not the way to go. And that's why I've started this. But I wanted it to be a twofold path. One, to expose that a Christian and a conservative can still stand up to the evils of Donald Trump and his followers. But also, I wanted to... we don't need to be silent. But at the same time, I want to be a good example. But I can't let his evils be so pervasive that it kills me and my spirit, and it affects my mood and the way I treat others. I am very careful on socials not to echo the things that I don't want to see Christians doing. Trump's name calling. I'm not going to follow in suit and do things like some of my Christian friends do, like pointing out, mocking faces of conservative personalities, or their physical appearances. I'm not going to get into name calling, whether it's Trump recently calling people Democrats or calling immigrants, they're all rapists and murderers, or, he had a name for every one of his political enemies. And that included, when he was in the primaries, his fellow Republicans. I will not echo on social media insults. If I talk in accusations, I try to verify the story, and I try to only share truth. So I may not call him a name, but I can say that he's a narcissist, or that he's a racist, because there's evidence for that. I can say that he's a sexual offender because in 2023, there was a verdict by a judge and a jury. And so these are the things we have to be critical about, but good thinkers about. Let's love each other well.